Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Spurs Up Show presented by the Armchair All-Americans. We are back after a week off. We are back again. I'm your host, Chris Phillips, joined as always by my co-host and colleague, Thomas Floyd. Before we get started, if you're not subscribed to the Spurs Up Show yet, not sure exactly what you're doing, the best Gamecocks podcast on the internet by far, be sure to go online, rate, subscribe, share, and download the Spurs Up Show on iTunes, the Stitcher app. Wherever you consume your media, wherever you consume your podcast, please be sure to go rate us. It actually helps other people find our show as well. So obviously we prefer leave us a 5-star review. Leave us whatever you want. Tell us where we can improve, whatever you like. Also, be sure to go check us out on our social media handles. On Twitter at ArmchairSCar. That's going to be at ArmchairSCAR. Instagram at ArmchairSCarolina. And of course, again, this is a podcast brought to you by the Armchair All-Americans. So please be sure to go to ArmchairAllamericans.com to check out all of our latest breaking Gamecocks news, coverage, of course, the podcast, and especially all of our content as we count down to kickoff. We've been doing our countdown to kickoff on social media, on our Twitter page, and also our Instagram account, which has been blowing up a pretty good bit in the last couple of weeks. Like I said, the countdown to kickoff has been a really, really big hit. We're going to continue to do that as we get closer to football season. And obviously, as we get closer, we're going to start breaking down some position units. We're going to start talking some offensive, defensive previews, some season previews, and get really into the football mix. But like I said, I'm joined as always with my co-host, Thomas Floyd. Tom, it's good to be back after a week off. How you been?
It's great to be back. Last week was tough not recording. We had some things come up, but we're back this week, and that's what matters.
No, we did. Yeah, we've got a packed show today. I'm hoping we can get to all of it. Obviously, we had some stuff go down. I know you did a live Periscope feed on a Saturday. I went on the radio. Our friends over at 100.1 The Fan in Florence was able to go talk to them about some Carolina baseball. Brian Bowen, no football really. Obviously, we're in kind of a dead period, but was able to go talk to them. But as always, as we start our show, our overreaction of the week, Thomas, I'm going to let you start.
Steve Spurrier flopped at the end of his career recruiting wise, and Will Muschamp's that's never happened to Will Muschamp. As much as other people who claim to be sports journalists on Twitter say, but or former sports journalists, excuse me.
We're not even gonna bring up who that is, but no. you're $20 richer. I'm gonna give you that. Yeah. I don't know if you saw my tweet, but I thought that was pretty clever.
I mean, it's tough. I knew when this person said that, I knew they hadn't even read the article. They just saw the title and just automatically got triggered.
Well, the funniest thing to me was like he admitted it when he said, "Isn't that what you said in the article?" It's like, well, don't you know what he said in the article?
Yeah.
Like, no, you don't.
I was just like, dude, I was gonna be like, man, come on, like you could at least taken the 3 minutes to go and read my 800-word article. Maybe it wasn't very long. It's a great article though. Plug myself here. Go Armchair All-Americans, Cruton, South Carolina will be up there. Great. Just go check it out if you haven't yet.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I'm gonna let you talk about it in a little bit because I definitely want you to break everything down. It was a great piece. Like you said, if you're listening to the show and you haven't checked it out, please do so. So, jumping in, Tom, my reaction of the week. Obviously South Carolina. We're gonna get to it in just a second, but South Carolina had a super regional this weekend against the Arkansas Razorbacks. Unfortunately, dropping 2-3. Season comes to an end. Overall, a good season. Something I've been saying for a couple of weeks though, and I actually said on 100.1 The Fan in Florence last week. In my personal opinion, and especially after watching Adam Hill pitch on Saturday against Arkansas, to me, it is so blatantly obvious that Adam Hill should return for his senior season. Now, he was a 4th-round draft pick. I know everybody's going to bring that up, but I mean, honestly, man, in my personal opinion, I think Adam Hill he has Casey Mize-esque stuff. I mean, I think he could be an even higher draft pick. And to me, it's just kind of the deal. It's kind of a situation where, I mean, you were a Sunday starter your first 2 years. You finally get the opportunity to be the Friday night guy. And I mean, he had a very, very pedestrian season after the two games in which he struck out 14 batters. I mean, he was very underwhelming, had real big control issues. And to me, again, we're going to get into the baseball in just a second, but to me, I was more disappointed. I wasn't really that disappointed with Carmen Majinski and those guys on that last game when South Carolina, got beat pretty bad 14-4. To me, it's just more so the fact that you have your guy, Adam Hill. He has to show up, and they really should have never been in that position. If Adam Hill just shows up, they could have won that game. They could have won that Super Regional in 2 games. So I don't know. I just think if you're Adam Hill, you have to feel like you got some more to prove. I don't know that he's going to come back. I really actually highly doubt it, but I don't know. To me, it just seems like, another year of polishing your skills, getting better with your control, and then being a dominant Friday night guy in the SEC, I think would mean something to scouts. But
Yeah,
what do I know? So
he probably what did he round he get drafted in, like the 7th or
he was
like?
fourth round. He was fourth
Oh,
round. I mean, which
okay.
is a pretty high pick. But I mean, I said, I think if he came out and absolutely, I know people say, well, he's a senior, he won't have any leverage. But if he came out and absolutely shoved next year
Yeah,
and dominated the SEC as a Friday night guy, especially like being some of the guys he would beat. I mean, on Friday night, you're going up against draft picks basically every Friday. I mean, I don't see how that could hurt his draft stock, in my opinion.
I mean, especially if he shows that he's improved his control, like that's his main. It's like it's not like he doesn't have the pitches; he just can't throw a strike.
Yeah, I mean, the best pitch in baseball is a strike, and I mean that's the biggest thing. Like you said, his stuff is there. It's just, and I'm like, that's what I try. That's what I said on Twitter is that I was like, realistically, how can you watch his performance and think that Adam Hill shouldn't come back? And I had to follow it up, and I was just like, I'm not saying he's throwing absolutely terribly, but like he's just not. He's not maximizing his potential right now because he can't fill the zone consistently. He's getting the fifth inning having 90 to 100 pitches, and it's just
you can't
he's knocking himself out of a game so early. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see again. If I had to put my money on it, I think he'll go just because when guys get drafted, I feel like if you're a top 10 round draft pick, it's very, very hard to turn that down. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's very hard to turn down, but I just think another year in the SEC being a Friday night guy would benefit him a lot. So we'll see what happens. Favorite news story of the week, I'll go first. Not sure if you saw, this was a really, really, really cool story. Excuse me. A lot of different outlets ran it. I know we kind of retweeted it, but it was on GoGameCox.com. I'm not sure if Gamecock Central, probably Big Spur, whoever. A lot of different outlets ran it. The Lego Williams Bryce that this kid and his dad built was so epic. And I know everybody knows what I'm talking about, but just such an awesome thing. I kind of wish he could like build a couple of those and I could have one in my man cave or living room or wherever. It's just
I don't want to know how long
so awesome. Dude, he's been working on that since the start of last football season.
Jeez.
I'm guessing, but I'm saying I have no doubts it took that long.
Oh, at least.
That was an insane. And how do you have pieces that look exactly like the stadium?
He must have he's molded some change on that stuff. Like he's invested some cash.
He's been like a scavenger probably and pulled like 5 or 6 pieces from each set and like put them all together. Like
he's probably had to be like scouting stuff, like find something that looks similar to what the stadium does. And
then you've got to think about, you have to scale it all to size. So like you have to have like the right amount and then the right size pieces too.
That'd be, I don't know. I don't even know how you do that. Like
it's crazy.
Yeah, that's just
crazy that people can do that. Like it was crazy awesome. And then he had a picture of the Clowney hit on the scoreboard that he built. It was like crazy. I mean, it was so awesome. Insane.
So I guess I'll go for my story of the week. Not Gamecock or even football related at all. Is Kim Jong-un, if you don't know who that is, the North Korean dictator. I'm assuming everyone knows who that is by now. Him and President Donald Trump met this week, and I think Dennis Rodman is like friends with Kim Jong-un. Maybe I don't know how that works, but he was like a mediator, and he was on CNN or Fox News, one of them, talking with a Make America Great Again hat on and a shirt that said potcoin.com, which is a cryptocurrency for marijuana. Like people who sell and buy marijuana, it's a cryptocurrency for it. I just thought it was crazy that you could tell someone from 1990 that Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump were meeting in 2018, and Dennis Rodman was I can't think of the word, but like the guy who the mediator between them two. Like, this is insane to me. That's actually real life.
Yeah, bro. I'm not gonna lie. With everything, you're over my head. I don't even pay attention to it anymore. But no, I did see a little bit. But yeah, I'm not the guy to go to on this. I'm gonna take your word for it.
I mean, I'm not like that insanely involved in politics, but it just was it's crazy.
Well, I mean, it's less politics and more like a reality TV show with that shit.
Yeah, so. At this point, I give up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a bad reality TV show.
All right, well, baseball time. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. So obviously, moving into what just happened last night, South Carolina falls to 2-3 to Arkansas in the Super Regional round. I'll just kind of start talking overall. I mean, it really, I guess. Saturday, I would say this positive. Saturday was a great performance. LT Tolbert with the grand slam was awesome. Hunter Taylor, probably one of the most underrated players in the country. Oh, Sunday. Yeah, I'm thinking Friday, Saturday, Sunday. No, Saturday, Sunday, Monday series. The Sunday game, absolutely fantastic game. LT Tolbert, such a clutch hitter.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's probably going to be gone too. He's a junior, got drafted, whatever. South Carolina, obviously going into next season, got to replace a lot. But talking about this season, I mean, just it really hit me. I think it really hit me last night watching the game. When obviously they're down like 12-2, you basically know it's over. And people probably saw I put out a tweet in the 7th inning, basically just kind of saying I got a little bit of my feels, just talking about how great of a season it was and everything. And it really was. I mean, really being able to cover this team and kind of see where they started or where they ended up. I mean, I was their biggest advocate in the preseason, should have been ranked, and had their backs as well when they were losing some of those midweek games. And then when, this team to turn it around from 20-17 after losing a Presbyterian, when, I mean, I remember it. I mean, I remember Gamecock Twitter vividly after that game, just being so down, people not even thinking they're going to make the postseason. It's a rebuilding year. And this team to turn it around the way they did, winning those last 5 SEC series in a row, winning a game in Hoover, obviously didn't go exactly how they wanted in Hoover, but, sweeping through the regional round and then, I mean, really giving Arkansas all they could handle. I mean, obviously taking them to Game 3 in Baum Stadium, not an easy task. Arkansas was the number 5 overall seed. Just a great job by Coach Kingston and his staff. I mean, one thing that we didn't talk about that I want to bring up too, it's a little bit of shift of gears. I'm sure you saw this, Tom, but South Carolina had, I believe, 10 or 11 guys drafted in MLB draft. It was the most since 2002. And, I had to throw a little shade at our old head coach and basically some fans, too, that were thinking that South Carolina didn't have the talent the last couple of years. It's like, well, that basically disproves everything you thought about that.
I mean, basically, this year to me, I mean, obviously I don't keep up a lot with baseball. That's just, like, not my thing. But just from what I've seen, like, from recently hearing people talk, is that the team was good and we had good hitting. And it's just after you get past Adam Hill and Cody Morris, you were just lost for pitching, really. Most of the time, at least, or a good amount of time, because you see in the midweek games, we lose to Presbyterian and College Charleston, and just that's why the record was like not that great, because we didn't have that great of pitching to back us up in midweek games. And obviously it showed, because I basically told my friends, I was like, if Carolina goes 3 games to Arkansas, they're going to get blown out the 3rd game because they're not going to have the pitching to survive. And it wasn't all, how do you say, Majelinski? Majinsky. It's not. I mean, there was an error in the 1st inning that kind of led to the 3-home bomb that he gave up, but it's hard to give up 14 runs in the Super Regional game and not lose.
Oh, of course. I mean, here's the thing. I'm not going to sit here and say Majinsky threw great or anything. I mean, Arkansas is a great offensive team.
They're number 5 team in the country for a reason.
Yeah, they can absolutely swing the bats. But I will say in Majinsky's defense, like you said, you brought up the botched double play, which was kind of a weird situation. I mean, South Carolina was in a shift. It was just kind of listen, Monday night was the perfect storm for everything to go wrong. I mean, I thought – I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'll be completely honest. I'm as optimistic a fan as they come. I did not feel great going into that game last night just because, again, if nothing else, even if South Carolina played its best game, it's Game 3 to go to Omaha at their place. So, I mean, I couldn't – it was hard for me to envision a scenario where, Arkansas lost that game at home. But like I was going to say, in my defense of Majinsky, I mean, I didn't think – I don't want to be this guy, but that umpire, I thought, really, really squeezed him in the 1st inning. I mean, again, not to say that Majinsky was making some great pitches, but
was he the same umpire? Was it the same the whole weekend?
No, they rotate, so they don't keep the same guy behind the home plate.
Well, the guy umpires behind when I think it was Sunday, he was calling the strike zone like an MLB strike zone because he like if you were barely off the edge, he wasn't giving you anything.
Let me ask you this: did you watch? Like, how much of the games did you watch?
Sunday I watched the whole thing, and Friday I watched a good bit, and then Monday I was at a youth group, and I like checked my phone, and we were down 5-0, so I just was like, there's no point in watching it, so I didn't catch
What is
any.
what? Let me ask you this question: what does the phrase "hobnoxious" mean to you?
I don't know what that means.
You don't. Oh, you don't know. So you didn't see the guy. You had to have seen it on
You
Instagram.
talking about the
The
guy who
Arkansas fan
pointed
that
at
was like
the ump the
pointing at the
entire
umpire.
time?
So yeah, his
Yeah.
nickname is Hobnoxious.
Oh yeah, I know that. I
Yes,
saw that. I watched that, and
or
I was like,
Boss Hog or something.
I was
Yeah,
like, why do you feel the
dude
need
was
to
an
do that?
absolute clown. Dude, hey, and he was back too. Last night he was back in his I guess he's probably a season ticket
Yeah,
holder. So he was back, and he was. I thought it was like the worst thing ever because I mean they're up 7-0, so you can't say anything. But
yeah.
they showed Hobnoxious, and he was pointing with one hand. The other hand, he had like a fake dead chicken and was just swinging it back and forth. And I was like,
That's just
oh
so
my
weird.
god,
Someone should
bro!
remind him of the
They
football
gave
score.
him they gave him so much unreal airtime. I didn't send this tweet out, but I wanted to send out a tweet and say somebody send Hobnoxious this film, and I was just going to put highlights from the Arkansas South Carolina game last year.
I saw where Elliot Fry tweeted. This was hilarious. He was like, I forgot how like obnoxious Arkansas fans were, and then I remember I tweeted about scoring more points than their entire team did one year. Or like
Dude, probably
when they played
no.
them one year.
I was gonna say I saw that tweet. Yeah, that year in 2013, the score was like 52-7. Like it was an absolute beatdown. So
Yeah.
he has a great point. But I was gonna say probably my favorite tweet of the weekend was a guy that said before this weekend I didn't know that Arkansas fans A were obnoxious and B existed.
Yeah, I didn't know Arkansas fans
I
existed.
was like, wow, I did not know like there were that many Arkansas fans that would fill
Yeah.
a 10,000 seat baseball stadium. But
I didn't know they had
well,
a. Well, I knew their baseball team was good because I'm a Red Sox fan, sort of, and Benintendi, the left
he
fielder for the
came
Red
from
Sox,
Arkansas.
came from Arkansas, and that's like I knew they were like kind of good at baseball, but I didn't really know a lot.
Yeah, I mean they just haven't had like the historic. I mean they've had success program. I think it's just different because they're in the West. So, I mean you just don't. South Carolina doesn't play every year. You don't. It's kind of like football too. I mean obviously we're way more familiar with Arkansas in football because we used to play them every
Yeah,
single year. But it's just like you're just not really familiar with them, not familiar with anything they do or anything like that or whatever. But yeah, Hobnoxious got a lot of airtime this week. He was feeling himself, and he acted a freaking fool on Sunday, dude.
Big Cat
So,
tweeted out a thing of the video of it was like he's the ultimate intimidation factor. I was like, no,
dude,
he's just a douchebag. Like
dude,
not that cool.
I was gonna ask you though, do you know any Gamecock fans like that? You think I could be cock noxious?
I don't know anyone like that, but I don't want anyone to be like that. So
Do you
no.
think I could be? I was thinking about it. Maybe I could be cock noxious. I don't. That
Please.
sounds pretty dirty though.
Yeah. I don't know how that would go over with.
Cock noxious.
We get a lot of really
I
weird tweets.
see. Here's the thing too that the announcing guy. I know they were trying to make a joke out of it. They're like, yeah, if we were in Founders Park, you'd be seeing the same thing. These fans going crazy. I'm like, I
No,
don't think there's a guy at Founders Park like that. I really don't.
I mean, there's the
They were, and
Gamecock.
they
Okay,
panned out.
the
Go ahead.
Gamecock Jesus. There's the Gamecock Jesus dude for basketball games, but literally all he does is like bang on the
Yeah, he's
stairs the
not. Yeah,
entire
but
time.
he's not like getting. He's not in like people's faces or anything. He's not like that. I don't think.
He's never
But
pointed at a ref for like 6 minutes straight and stared him down.
and then you know what the funny thing was last night? I don't know if they did this on Sunday, but last night they panned out, and it's not just him. There's like 4 dudes standing next to him. So I mean, it was literally the dumbest thing because our hitter we would call timeout, and they thought it was. I mean, I guess they just were set on blaming the umpire, and like an umpire calls time, he like waves his hands like time. So when he called time, the whole crowd would they just show these 4 guys all doing like the time signal,
They
the
were
time motion, like oh,
they
it's
were
like
so
dude, the
obnoxious.
batter called time, like why are you giving the umpire shit? Like your pitcher's taking forever.
Yeah, this dudes are too
I,
much.
I mean, I gotta be honest. As much as I hated losing the game, I thought Hobnoxious was 1% of me. I was like, that guy's kind of funny, actually.
It's a little funny, but it's like at the same time, I'm like, all
It
right,
was
dude, like,
ridiculous.
it's a little unnecessary.
It was funny at first. It got over the top ridiculous.
Yeah, when he
I
stared at
will
him
say
for
that.
like it seemed like 15 minutes straight, I was like, all right, dude, like let's calm it down a
Yeah,
little bit.
somebody else tweeted was like, the funny thing is that Arkansas fans don't realize this guy's going to be the face of their program like the next 10 years because
Yeah.
that's all people are going to think about. And I thought about that. I was like, you know what? You're right. Because honestly, if a South Carolina fan did that, I'd be so embarrassed. I'd be like, oh
Yeah.
my God. Like, somebody tell that dude to sit down. So,
Yeah.
all right. And enough of the obnoxious talk. Gonna get into some football. Obviously, it's, again, I want to make sure I cover everything because a lot has happened. First things first, Josh Belt, officially a Gamecock. It was announced, last week? Yeah, boom. Spurs up.
Yeah.
Last week, Josh Belk announcing what a lot of people thought he would be attending South Carolina. I think right now, from what I've seen, he's applying for a hardship.
Yeah,
So
hardship
he can
waiver.
play. Hardship waiver, so he can play immediately.
It's a long shot, but I mean, it's worth it.
Either way, he's going to be a Gamecock. He's going to be wearing garnet and black. He's going to be on. He's not already. He's going to be on campus this fall, no matter what.
Yeah.
So,
but I say I don't think he's
Tom,
on campus right now.
Yeah. He. The only reason I was about to say he's on campus right now is I saw him at the camp this past weekend talking to Javon Kinlaw and all them.
You see the monster that is Javon Kinlaw?
Dude, I follow him on Instagram. I know he's a beast. I mean,
he liked my comment on the when you tagged me in that picture of him, he liked my comment back when I was like, dude is a monster or whatever. I said back
dude, he's cool as hell on social media.
I'm pretty sure he liked my picture. I'm pretty sure he liked when I quote tweeted and said Javon Kinlaw is a different breed of human beings, and I said he liked that too. So
dude, I remember this was
show.
I mean, this was late this was like late January. So this was a while ago. He tweeted, he's changing numbers. He's not going to be 99 anymore.
What's he going to be?
I don't know, but I tweeted, I was like, please let Javon Kinlaw, or please let at whatever he's got a weird Twitter handle.
Yeah.
I was like, please let at Javon Kinlaw be in a single digit jersey. He's like, I need it. He liked
number
it.
one.
So
big number one.
I'm pretty, dude,
Let's
I swear to God, I'm pretty sure he's going to be in a single digit jersey. Like,
That's
I'm not
insane.
even BSing. So he's definitely changing his number. He's already said that. He's tweeted that like multiple times.
Well, he's been wearing 99 in practice though. I don't know.
I mean, he probably won't start wearing it until fall of the first game, but
he's not gonna. Yeah, he's not gonna want anybody to know. So he's not gonna wear it.
Dude, they probably won't get his new number till they get everybody on campus in the fall. Then they start dishing out numbers.
Well, I think did you see the picture today? The Gamecock football tweet out of all the DBs with Brian Edwards in it.
Yeah, I did. That was funny.
Did you see J.C. Horn and how big he is? Like,
yeah, I saw.
Kid is a freak.
Yeah, I saw our buddy Rob Profit. So hold on, is he? He's the one on the far right, right?
Yeah, far right.
Yeah, he's tall as hell. He's tall as Brian Edwards.
Look at Mukwamu, or whatever how you say his last name, and he's like leaning. He's almost on his arms are humongous. That kid should be a shutdown corner.
Huge. He's huge, dude.
Like if you get a jump ball over him, you just gotta sit him down and be like, all right, dude.
Yeah.
You had one job.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, get back. We're getting off on a tangent. Get back to Josh Belt. Tom, talk about, obviously a lot of people kind of speculated. I think Josh Belt kind of played with our emotions as far as visiting Georgia and wherever else he went. Talk about Josh Belt, what it means for obviously this defensive line class, this 2019, or I guess he wouldn't be technically part of the 2019 class, but
he's a part of the. Well, he's a part of the 2019 class scholarship wise.
Right.
Not
right.
Like he's already graduated high school, obviously, so he's not really 2019.
Right. So, Tom, just break down, talk a little bit about, your thoughts on Josh Belk, his impact, if he is eligible, if he's not, just overall what it means.
Well, if he was eligible, he might break the 2 deep. I think he would probably break the 2 deep and be a rotational player if he fixes his motor. But the thing is, his high school film is really bad. Or not really his high school as a whole, but his senior film was really bad. He basically couldn't dominate or even come close to that in the single A level and South Carolina High School League, which is not the best football in the world. So I don't really kind of makes me hesitate there. But he had extremely good practices the Army All-American game, so that's why he got his 5 starters for 24/7 Sports. But I mean, he's a definition of a nose guard or nose tackle. I mean, he just is a guy he could be really, really good if he has the work ethic like Javon Kinlaw has. When you see the transformation Javon's had to his body, if Belt can come close to that, kid could be a top 3-round pick in my opinion. And I'm not that great at evaluating that kind of stuff, but he's got the ability. It's just whether or not he's got the want to, and that's two completely different things.
Yeah, no, from what you've said, I definitely agree with you. I mean, I'll say from just kind of an outsider looking in, because honestly, I have not watched his high school film. I mean, I think it's a huge get for the Gamecocks, and we talked about, obviously we've beaten a dead horse talking about exactly how the last recruiting cycle or recruiting class went and the guys that South Carolina missed on. And I love a tweet that I keep talking about Rob. Probably we just got to get Rob on the show, man.
Yeah.
We keep bringing him up, but he put out a tweet tonight that I really liked. Literally, probably 30 minutes ago. I'm bringing it up here. He said, the one thing I've learned from Will Muschamp is that it's never over. Clemson literally signed Josh Belk, and Belk still decided that that was the wrong decision and came to South Carolina. It's never over.
Yeah, I don't think he had any contact with him when he was on campus, because I don't know, but I think as soon as the word got to Muschamp that Belk hated it there, he was probably.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Belk literally said it picked up right where it left off, and he said the biggest thing that he really appreciated was that when Belk told him he was committing to Clemson, they were just like, hey, best of luck, whatever. Not a big deal. I really wonder if I wonder how if the Clemson staff reacts quite the same as Muschamp and his boys do, but I guess we'll never know.
No, I mean, we're never going to hear that kind of info, but I guess you want to hit on Joseph Anderson real quick and the rest of the guys.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of other commits, 4-star. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Well, we got a 4-star defensive end, Joseph Anderson from Tennessee. He's probably closer to what you would see with Keir Thomas. Maybe I wouldn't think he'd be more of a true end. I don't really think he played the buck a lot, but if he slims down a little bit of a bigger guy, could be a really good player. He's just another really talented guy. They're going to bring in a top 150 player. Gonna have a big impact if he gets his weight right. Next they committed is 3-star outside linebacker Derek Boykins. Reminds me a lot of Sky Moore. Moves really well in coverage. He is a really good tackler. Has a nose for the ball like Sky did. And then running back Kevin Harris. I think he's a 3-star now. I think 24/7 Sports gave him a rating. And I mean his composite's like a 0.8 something, like a midpoint 85, I think. But a guy that I don't know why he hasn't got any attention, but his junior year of film is insane to me. I swear, I think on every play he made 3 people miss. Like, just that elusive runner. He's a big kid too, and runs a 4.5 and had like a 30-something inch vert. So could be a really, really big player for South Carolina going forward if he stays his commitment and ends up being a really good back. But we're 3 years out from knowing that. So
yeah, no, and the funny thing again, you're the recruiting guru, Tom. I'll be honest, I don't normally watch film on guys unless it's a big time guy or there's kind of hype around or buzz around a guy. But I did watch the film because I saw you and Alex Reynolds talking about it. Kevin Harris's film I had to watch. I mean, he looks, granted, against high school competition, high school kids, but he's definitely a level above. I mean, he's huge. No, there's no question. He's a big boy.
He can move.
He can scoot. Put it that way.
Yeah.
So another, obviously more recruiting news coming out tomorrow, or when you hear this, it'll be tonight. Savion Jackson making his decision on Wednesday. Tom, talk about kind of your thoughts. What are the chances South Carolina is able to land him?
I would think right now he's like his top 5 is like South Carolina, NC State, Clemson, and there's 2 others I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's really between NC State and South Carolina from what I've heard and read. But just a guy who would be, I mean, if he comes in this class and they add like a Curtis Fan Jr. or another really quality defense lineman, it could end up being the best defensive line like class that's ever come through South Carolina, because they're just from top to bottom. You're having players who, I mean, at top obviously you have Zach Pickens, who's one of the best, if not the best, defensive ends in the nation, and then on the bottom you have like I guess Rodriguez Fenton and Devontae Davis, who are both top. Devontae Davis is the top defensive end in JUCO, and Rodriguez Fenton has been climbing up boards since he got offered by Muschamp, which is usually how it works for recruits. But Savion would just be a really good cherry on top for this defense in this class.
Yeah, the other 2. I was going to say the other 2 are North Carolina and Virginia Tech, by the way.
Oh yeah, I think it's 70-30 South Carolina. I would be shocked if he committed to NC State tomorrow night. But even if he does commit to South Carolina, NC State's obviously still going to be in his ear unless he just like He's like, all right, we had our run. Like, stop communicating with me.
Yeah. Where is he from? You know that?
He's 30 minutes outside of Raleigh, which is
Okay, so that's why. That's why NC State is so big in the picture.
That's why they're thinking they have like a really, really good chance. But
right,
he could pull something on everybody and just commit to Virginia Tech. Who knows?
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I agree. It'll be very, very interesting. I mean, again, Will Muschamp making headway. I mean,
yeah, dude is murdering it.
Yeah, the work they've been doing is crazy. I want to get you to talk about your article in just a second, but it's funny. I'm just because I had this on my mind, I was just thinking about all the defensive linemen obviously they're bringing in. I'll tell you this, not even recruiting current Gamecocks. The one guy that I got my eye on this year as far as a surprise D lineman, I feel like nobody's talking about. He was a fairly highly regarded recruit, played a little bit as a freshman, but dude, I think Aaron Sterling could have
he's
a DJ Wanham-esque kind of year.
He's a little undersized, but he could be like undersized, like height wise. He's him and Bryce.
I mean, he played well last year.
Yeah,
he played well last year.
I mean, he's another just under recruited guy that Muschamp's bringing in, and is just can end up being a really, really good player for us.
Yeah, I don't know.
And Shameik Blackshear too. No one's I keep forgetting he's on the roster. And he's like
I thought he was a senior last year. That's the funniest thing. I mean, he's gonna have to step up. I mean, dude, I remember when he came on campus, he was supposed to be like
the next Clowney.
The next Clowney, yeah, exactly. Like he was the guy, and then he had that. He had that huge thing where he like got shot in the leg. You remember that? He got like shot or something. I mean,
he had some character issues.
Yeah, his progression to where he is now has been crazy, and I mean, you just have to hope he's the kind of guy that's just going to put it all together for his senior year, and I mean, not be like Clowney-esque, but at least be a solid option.
If he could have 5 or 6 sacks, that would be huge.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. Oh, I'd take that. I'd take that right now if you were to ask me. Take 5 or 6 sacks, or you can just roll the dice. I'd take the 6 sacks. Yeah, that'd be a great year for him.
6 sacks and 8 tackles for loss, like every day. I'll take that.
I mean, South Carolina only had, I think, 26 sacks on the year last year.
And DJ Wanham had like 8 of them, so.
Yeah.
Tells you.
Yeah. All right, Tom. I was just looking. It's ironic. I was just looking on Twitter. The article you put out this morning, I guess it was, up to about 83 likes, 19 retweets. Has been getting a lot of
traffic,
a lot of love, a lot of traffic, a lot of reactions. Talk a little bit about the title. South Carolina recruiting. Will Muschamp is building something better than Steve Spurrier ever did. Just talk because I think it's a really, really interesting article and obviously a really interesting take as well. Talk a little bit about, just kind of your the article you put out today.
Well, I'm just going to go from the beginning. I started watching the film last night from when the spring game from this year, the 2018 spring game. I was in like the second quarter, and it was about to be – I knew the Steve Spurrier catch had happened, but I missed this detail before watching the spring game before. And Spurrier misses the ball and drops it. There's a video in the article if you want to go watch it of him dropping the ball. And – when he's getting interviewed by the girl on SEC Network, I can't think of her name. Lauren Reynolds, I think that's a worker with us. I can't think of her name, but Laura Rutledge, I think that's it. But something like that.
Rutledge, yeah.
Something like that. But so he was sitting there talking, and he goes, "Well, Skarnicki was putting good drive together there," because he talks in that really high pitched voice. But
that's good. That's great.
But I was just like, and I was sitting there, I was like, Skarnicki didn't throw that ball. And I look and I rewind it and I was like, that was Jake Bentley. And it just hit me how, and I know. I said in the article, I said the quarterback was on the other side of the field, 12 and 19 sort of look alike, I guess. And I don't expect him to be paying that much attention to who's throwing the ball, but it just shows how much he just genuinely just didn't care. Or how much his inattention to detail showed. And through his last couple of years at Carolina, whether it be after Clowney's class, I think that's 2011 maybe, it just was when it all started to just kind of like go downhill in terms of recruiting with evaluation of players and stuff like that. Because, I mean, if you don't know this, Mason Rudolph was a player who Steve Spurrier Jr. said no to, and he went to Oklahoma State and killed it for 4 years and is now playing quarterback and is going to be probably the quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers in a couple of years. But we wanted Perry Orth and what's the other guys? The Connor Mitch dude, isn't that his name?
Yeah, Connor. Oh God, yeah, Connor.
Yeah,
Mitch.
But it just shows you how bad the evaluation was, and the thing that sets the cornerstone for Spurrier absolutely sucking in recruiting his last couple of years when we handed down to his son, and just his lack of care is that he didn't know Raquan McMillan's name. He did not know who Raquan McMillan was. For those of you who don't know who Raquan McMillan was, he was a linebacker for Ohio State those 3 years that they were in the playoff, even though they got smacked by Clemson one of those years. But they obviously won a national championship. And he was a top 25 player in the 2014 recruiting class, the best linebacker. And he couldn't think of his name.
He didn't, just to clarify, he didn't know who he was when he was on campus. When
he
was in Columbia.
Came to a visit, and basically they were talking. Spurrier was like, "What's your name again?" And McMillan said that in an interview. He was like, "Yeah, I didn't know who I was." But here's what I really want to talk about. And this isn't about NFL success. I'm talking about players that are going to play at Carolina. I don't want to say I don't care what they do in the NFL. I hope they have great careers, but it doesn't affect South Carolina within itself. These players that Will Muschamp is recruiting, you can tell are like blue collar and work hard just like him. At least 95% of them are like that. And you see it because Muschamp dedicates so much time to recruiting and watching film. Like Muschamp is on recruiting coordinator. The players don't get offers unless it's through Muschamp or he gives the okay on the player. And after – remember Muschamp's interview, he talked about how, if you don't think I can recruit, look at my wife. I can sell ice to what is it? Eskimo.
Eskimo, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One of the funniest lines I think I've ever heard out of a coach. But he just cares so much about recruiting, and he cares about the players because, there's been videos of him helping players move in, and there's just stuff like that. Most coaches, I don't think they do that, but it's just huge to me that when you have a coach who cares about players. And as soon as Muschamp's press conference got done with, he went and visited T.J. Brunson, and Brunson committed to Carolina like a week or two after and was a core special teams player 2 years ago. Last year, he was starting middle linebacker beside Sky Moore, was second on the team in tackles, probably will end up being one of the better linebackers to ever play at South Carolina. And that was the first player Muschamp went and visited. And it just shows you his attention to detail and knowing that he wanted that kid. It was a kid he could get because it's hard for you to be coming off 3-9 season and get recruits that are like, I guess, big name. Like, it's not going to be easy. And Muschamp's putting in the work, and I really love to see it because it's such a refreshing thing to have, is that a head coach is so part of everything, and it's not just what Spurrier was in his latter years and really just an offense coordinator, and that's all he was. He didn't do anything recruiting-wise. It didn't help. Wouldn't play golf 5 days out of the week probably if he could. I just can't explain how much I don't say like I love him much, like it's not, but I love how much effort he puts into South Carolina, how much he cares about the university. And he says, I remember in one of when he was speaking to the players at the end of the Outback Bowl in the locker room, he was like, the crazy thing is, like, we're just getting started. And it's true. They are just getting started. And it's going to be, I think in Muschamp, as long as he stays South Carolina and doesn't just get a better job offer somewhere else, they could have this could be a really long and successful run with Muschamp. And even if Muschamp leaves, like, I would take T-Rob or Brian McClendon as a head coach here. I would love to have either of them because I know how much they care about recruiting too and winning too, obviously. But you really love to see it with Muschamp and how much he cares about the program.
Yeah, no, well said. I mean, I definitely think, for a guy like you that loves to watch film and loves, obviously, you love recruiting to, some aspect as well. Love to watch film on the high school kids, get the commitment. Yeah. Obviously, it's exciting. It is exciting when you get like a big time commit. Even me not being, I've said before, the only reason I'm not like I care about recruiting. I do, but I'm not as diehard as some others because I realize that these kids can just say anything, and really until they put pen to paper, it doesn't mean anything if they commit or they don't commit or whatever. And obviously, like you're saying, you'll never know how good a recruit is until he's been on campus 2 years, 3 years, whatever, because obviously the rankings are what they are. But, there obviously is something to it because if Alabama's number one recruiting every year and they're winning the national championship, there's something to that.
Yeah.
Obviously, recruiting is important. It's the lifeblood of college football, like you're saying. But, yeah, I know for you to be able to, watch film on these guys and they commit to South Carolina. You see how good they look on film. And obviously, you can just tell Muschamp, he loves to recruit. He really, I think, and the bigger thing, not so much, he loves to recruit, but I think also he really values like having relationships with the kids and their families and all that. Whereas Spurrier really just could not give less of a shit.
He was there to call plays on Saturdays, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'll tell you this, man. You're talking about like kind of when the recruiting fell off. I mean, I could tell you, I could see it. The funny thing is, I think South Carolina fans, at least the ones that really, the diehard ones that kind of knew football, and you could see it. I mean, I remember going to South Carolina, East Carolina in 2012. That was the game Dylan Thompson started, and I mean, they beat the shit out of East Carolina, whatever. But I remember being at that game, probably late third quarter, early fourth quarter. You know, they had put the second team defense in. And that was when Clowney was obviously that was Clowney's huge year. I mean, that was another 11-win season for Carolina football. But you could see when they put that second team defense in. I mean, you could see just how bad the backup D line
And
was.
I guess
I mean, that's when they had like
the difference.
That's when they had like. I was gonna say they had like Gerald Dixon on the D line. They had
Jesus Christ,
Gerald Dixon, his brother. I mean, it's just like you could
half brother.
See how bad it looked. I mean, you could see. I mean, because I remember them being in there. I remember them being. I mean, all day long, clowning those guys. They're breathing down the East Carolina quarterback's neck. You put in that second team D line. I mean, it's just like nothing. And it showed. It showed in 2014, like you've said before. Yeah. I mean, it showed. It was absolutely disastrous.
They got murdered the first game against A&M, and Kenny Trill destroyed every record that Johnny Manziel ever had in his first game. Like,
I mean, I remember being there. In 2014, that first game. And I mean, South Carolina was a top 10 ranked team. The first game ever on SEC Network. Yes, first ever game on SEC Network. And I mean, this just harsh reality very quickly.
I don't know how Lorenzo Ward has a job at any school ever again. Still haven't figured that one out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but I you know, the funny thing to me is that because I look at it as from the, you know, obviously because it was funny when Spurrier left when he quit. We're just gonna say we're gonna call it what it is. When he quit, you know, I had a lot of people coming to me, fans that knew I was a Gamecock fan, that were people that talking to me were not Gamecock fans. They really had no dog in the fight. They weren't Georgia, Clemson. These guys were actually from like across the country, guys that I played baseball with and knew through college and stuff. And they basically were like bad mouthing Spurrier, basically saying he's a quitter, he screwed you guys. And, you know, when it first happened and even a while after, I mean, the way I looked at it was, you know what, it sucks. It's really crappy, but you know, I think South Carolina fans, and probably rightfully so, felt indebted to Steve Spurrier because he provided Gamecock fans. I mean, let's be honest, their best memories as a South Carolina football fan. I mean, that's sort of what I would. I mean, I look back now and I'm like, man, like I can't believe we took it for granted a little bit how good the teams were and how, you know, we just expected to win 10 games, 11 games, and it's like, you know, once it got as bad as it got when you're 3-9, it's like, wow, like, you know,
we had a hot stretch.
But I will say, to your point, what I think is really interesting. I mean, South Carolina, to me, you look at it, it's like, what would be, because basically, you know, your article talked about that, you know, Will Muschamp, I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Will Muschamp, building something better than what Steve Spurrier ever did. I mean, I think even if South Carolina, because I think South Carolina, if they can continue to recruit like they're doing, which it does not, I mean, they're not going to slow down anytime soon. Will Muschamp's not going to slow down anytime soon. I mean, I think they really do have the potential to build the type of program where they might not go to Atlanta every year. They might not be, who knows? I don't, you know, it's hard to predict. Will they be in the talk for the national championship every year, every other year, or once every 5 years? It's hard to predict that. But as far as the SEC goes, I think they're building the type of program right now where, like you said, Spurrier had that hot 3-year run and then it just fell off. I think the sustained success under Will Muschamp is much, much more possible. I think this is kind of the program where they're going to win 8 or 9, at least 8, probably 9 games a year. And then once every 3 or 4 years, they might catch lightning in a bottle, win 10 or 11 and go to Atlanta. And, you know, once you get to Atlanta, anything can happen. So, I mean, I think as a Gamecock fan, though, I can honestly say that I would be happier having, let's just say Muschamp's here for 10 more years. I would be happier having Muschamp having 8, 9-win seasons and 2 appearances at Atlanta and 1 SEC championship than having only 3 11-win seasons. You know what I mean? Like
with no SEC East title.
Yeah, that sustained success, I think, is more important. It's way more important to the trajectory of the program. But I mean, like you said, with all the success that Spurrier had, I mean, it was just so short-lived. And I mean, again, you think about it. I mean, it's a program. In all reality, South Carolina has won 9 games 7 times in their history.
Yeah, I mean, the program's been around for 120 years.
Yeah, and I think Muschamp is building the type of program where I think 9 wins is going to be like you can that should be expected. I mean,
Yeah,
I
that's an
think he's
okay
built the
year.
kind of program that it can sustain. Because I talked about this with Barrett Sallee. We had Barrett Sallee on the show like 2 months ago or so, and he basically told me the same exact thing. He's like, because I think we talked a little. I wasn't sure. I think we talked a little bit about the Spurrier era and kind of is South Carolina getting back now. He kind of echoed the same thing. He's saying, well, Will Muschamp's building the kind of program that South Carolina should be happy with, winning 9 games, 8 to 9, maybe winning 10, and once every 3 years or so, catching lightning in a bottle and going to Atlanta. And I straight up told Barrett, I was like, Barrett, I will tell you from a Gamecock fan perspective, and if they tell you that anything different than this, they're lying. There is no Gamecock fan that would not sign up for that. To win 9 games every year. I mean,
fact.
after the many, many disappointing years and then going 3-9, I mean, that I think Gamecock fans would be ecstatic to have a program like that. So
yeah, it would be crazy.
I definitely agree with you 100%. I just think he's, and I mean, again, the sky's the limit. I mean, I saw a tweet that was really interesting. I don't know, what your take on this is, but I saw a tweet that basically said that maybe Clemson winning the national championship and the success they've had could possibly be one of the best things that's ever happened for South Carolina, because they know they're having to elevate their level of recruiting, their level of play, and I don't know if there's any
ever happened to Clemson was Steve Spurrier cutting their ass 5 years in a row. Really,
that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, no, yeah, I completely agree with you. But I mean, I don't want to put a cap on this program because I like to believe this program could, at some point, put the pieces all together. And I mean, you got to win the SEC first. You got to get back to Atlanta first, and you got to slay the dragon that is Alabama. But I mean, all it takes is one season, lightning in a bottle. If you have the athletes, I mean, I like to believe that you don't have to necessarily put a cap on this program. They could eventually win a national championship. So, and I think, Will Muschamp, as far as if you look to the history of college, I know it's early, it's only his 3rd recruiting class, but again, I just don't see a scenario where Will Muschamp is going to slow down anytime soon. If you really look at the history of South Carolina football and the coaches that have come through, I think realistically, you could almost say that Will Muschamp gives them the best chance that they've ever had to win the SEC, as far as how he's recruiting. And again, to have sustained success, because again, I mean, if South Carolina 10 years in a row, if they win 9 games, I mean, listen,
if they're winning 8 plus 2 years in a row, he could. What's 10 times 8? 80. He'd be the winningest coach in South Carolina history.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, not every 9-3 season is built the same. I mean, because you look at this year, I mean, obviously, if you say 9-3 right now, you're thinking lost to Georgia, lost to Clemson, and there's going to be one more in there somewhere, and that one more would be exactly. It'd be very important which one that was. It better be to like an upstart Florida team or something. None of the others would make sense. But I mean, if he goes back to back and this team wins 9, 10, if they go something crazy happens, they win 11. I mean, I think it could be the start to another huge run like we saw those Spurrier years. So, I mean, I know we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but basically, long story short, what I'm saying, I completely agree with what you're saying. I think South Carolina football is in a really good spot as far as having sustained success over a long period of time. I think Will Muschamp gives them the best opportunity they've ever had to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Anyways, moving to basketball. Yeah, again, great piece by Tom. If you haven't checked it out, please go to armchairamericans.com under South Carolina Gamecocks, under recruiting, whatever. Please, on our Twitter, please check it out. It's a great article. Again, we've had a ton of interaction already. It's definitely worth the read. So, a little bit of basketball. I just want to touch on really, really quickly. I know this happened last week, but again, we were on a little hiatus last week. Want to talk Brian Bowen. So obviously, kind of what we expected again. Brian Bowen's declaring for the draft. Then the funniest thing happens. He actually decides he's not going to enter the draft, and I think just try to go the G League route. I mean, really, the question to me, Tom, I mean, how badly did the NCAA screw over Bowen in this situation? Because they still didn't give him an actual answer on his fate, I guess.
Yeah, it was really bad. I guess my thing is that obviously he got told some bad stuff from scouts if he's pulling his name out of the draft. Like, obviously he's not going to get drafted. And I think part of me is saying he's just going to go overseas and play for a year and then prove his game play there. Because I would rather do that than play in the G League. But I don't know. Yeah. I guess it just depends on what your cup of tea is, I guess, if you're Brian Bowen.
Yeah, I mean, and then to go back to the NCAA thing, I mean, obviously we saw on Twitter, I'd heard, basically they said sources had told Brian Bowen he's going to be suspended at minimum a year, probably 2 years, which It's just crazy. It's insane. And it's insane they couldn't have an answer for me. I really feel bad for the kid at this point. I mean, it sucks for South Carolina, yeah, but you got to feel bad for the kid because, I mean, again, how is he going to get drafted? You haven't played a game in it. You've never played a college game. You haven't played a competitive game in a year. So, I mean, I don't know.
Situation overall.
Again, for the kid's sake, I just hope at the end of the day he can figure it out, a plan to where he can go play, go showcase his skills, and get signed somewhere. Because if he's as good as they said he was, I mean, I just think it's a shame in the sense that this kid, he said all he wanted to do was play college basketball. I mean, he could have been a star. I mean, he could have been an absolute star in the SEC, and instead he's going to be a guy, honestly, Tom, in 5 years. I'm not even going to remember who Brian Bone is. That's just me being completely honest, unless he goes to the NBA and starts killing it. Like,
yeah, then we can claim.
He's going to be like this forgotten guy. Like, and that's a shame. That, to me, is a shame. So, other than that, I mean, I think that pretty much wraps it up. Nothing much else. Again, we're going to be covering everything with the Savion Jackson decision tomorrow night. A lot of exciting stuff happening. Again, we're going to be in kind of a dead period, obviously, because of, baseball season's over. I think the next big thing, Tom, is SEC Media Days will be in July, which is definitely one of my favorite things to tune into. It's kind of the kickoff to gets us ready for college football, and then before you know it, August 1st is going to be here, and we're going to be right into fall practice. So again, we're going to be previewing a lot of stuff with college football coming up. I know that we like to put out our predictions a little bit later than maybe the Athlon Sports, the Lindy's, the Phil Steeles of the world, but I definitely like to build the excitement as we kind of get later June, get into July, obviously August. I mean, it's at that point it's boiling over. Also, be sure to check out tomorrow. We've actually got a really cool article coming out, not just us, but all of Armchair College Football, an article that I wrote. Shamelessly plugging myself here. Just kind of talking about the college football off season, really something really cool. I mean, it's an article I actually wrote specifically for South Carolina fans to begin with, and we actually decided, our editor-in-chief decided it would be great to broadcast it out to all of our college football fans. So check that out tomorrow. We're going to have it on all of our social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere else, armchairamericans.com, of course. So again, if you haven't done so yet, please be sure to go online, rate, subscribe, share, and download the Spurs Up Show, iTunes, the Stitcher app. You know where to find us. Follow us on our social media handles, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You guys know where to find us there as well. And, of course, armchairamericans.com. So, again, I think that's going to wrap it up. Tom, you got anything else? Any last words?
Nah, go Cox.
All right, sounds good. Well, hey, we appreciate you guys listening. Again, another fantastic episode. We look forward to Savion Jackson's decision tomorrow night, and we will catch you guys on next week's episode of the Spurs Up Show. Take care.